Welcome to Q&A Wednesday. I'm Brandis, and this is where you get to ask your health and wellness questions, and I get to answer them. Today's question comes from Kim, and she asks, how can I keep my hips healthy? I'm in my 50s and have noticed that my hips are starting to feel weak. I'm afraid of injuring myself because I'm not sure what exercises will help my hips. Can you help me? Absolutely, Kim. So our hips, which are right here, okay, it's where our legs come up and meet our pelvis, are the foundation in many regards to our bodies, because our hip stability will affect what happens at our knees and ankles, and it can also affect what happens above our hips in our pelvis all the way up the spine to the top of our head. So easy ways that you can increase your hip stability and strength to help protect the hip joint as well as increase your strength are going to be as follows. The first exercise or position that I like to teach people is the leg spiral. And the reason is because it gets into our hips and our glutes as well as using other muscles in our lower body. To perform the hip spiral, you are going to stand with your with your feet about hip width apart. I want you to soften your knees, so don't lock them out, just keep them really soft. And I want you to think about spiraling your upper thighs open and away from each other as you lift up through your glutes. And as you do this, sometimes our feet tend to lift up towards the sky. So what you want to do is press down through the ball of your foot, the base of your big toe, and through the center of your heel. So now I have my ankle muscles working, my thigh muscles are working, and you should also feel your glutes working. If you feel this in your low back at all, make sure that you're pulling the lower abdominal muscle gently up and in so that when you go into the leg spiral, you don't hyperextend your back, so you keep your abs engaged. This spiral helps engage your hip muscles for stability. I have a lot of people who do this when they are out and about. So for example, if they're standing in line at the grocery store, they'll do some hip spirals because for all practical purposes, someone watching you would think that you were just standing there, when in fact you are engaging all of these muscles and starting the prep work to build stability and to layer on additional exercises. So from here, once you've got that leg spiral, you can go into chair pose, or what some people call it is a squat. So maintaining that leg spiral, you're very slowly going to come down into chair pose. Your hands can stay at heart center, they can come up overhead, whatever position's comfortable for you. As you're learning this, sometimes just hands on your thighs works just fine. And then you come back up. Now, when you bend down into chair pose, you will start to lose a little bit of that spiral because you have to bend your knees, which means your thighs aren't going to be able to contract quite as much as when you were standing. That's completely normal. Chair pose or squats, if you continue to do these, are an excellent exercise to strengthen your hip muscles and your leg muscles. When you come down, you want to make sure that you can see your toes in the front of your knees to protect your knees. And when you come up, I want you to think about pressing down through your heels, which will get more into your glutes and your hip muscles. Okay? So we come down, we keep our lower abs engaged so our back doesn't arch, so it stays neutral. And then when we come back up, we push down, we root down through our heels, which will further engage our glutes and our hips. Good. My third favorite exercise for strengthening the hips are clam shells. So if you come down to the floor, your hips and knees are going to be bent. Your feet are going to be in alignment with your body. You're going to lay on your side. You can put a pillow under your head for comfort. You can use your arm. Just make sure you have good support. Then what you'll do is push your heels together gently. Push your lower leg down into the floor. And then lift the top leg by rotating the upper leg open and lower down. When you dig the heels together, it's going to engage your gluteus maximus, which is the big glute muscle. And when you rotate, it's going to engage the smaller gluteal muscles, or the hip stabilizers. When you lift that top leg, you want to make sure you don't open up your body towards the sky. So maybe you even pull your lower abdominal muscles in just a little bit to give yourself stability, to keep your hips stacked. Now, as you do these, slow and controlled, you want to feel these muscles here in your hip working. You should not have any pain. It should just feel like you're using your hip muscles. Good, just like that. And I always encourage people to do 8 to 10 on each side when they're starting out with those. And my other favorite exercise for increasing your hip strength and stability are bridges. So lying on your back, pressing your feet down into the floor to engage your leg muscles. Take a nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to round and lift your bum and your low back up towards the ceiling. Inhale at the top, and as you exhale, reverse that curve down your spine until you've lowered all the way to the floor. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, round, starting at your hips, your pelvis, lifting your low to mid back, stopping at the top just before the natural curve of your neck flattens out. At this point, you should feel your thigh muscles and your hip muscles and your glutes, your bum, really working to hold you here. And then you inhale at the top and exhale back down. Great. Kim, that is my answer to your question. I hope it is helpful. If you have any additional questions, or if anyone else watching has questions, please feel free to ask in the comments section below. I will see you next time.